Yeah,
drinks all the
exactly.
time.
Exactly. So I'm like, you can return beer, right? Can you?
Yeah, I think so. As long as you haven't opened it.
Yeah, but I'm like,
I don't know. I've
just
never.
save it for next time type of deal.
I guess I've never tried it, but
Mm-hmm. That was my thing. I never tried it either, but I'm like, we'll figure out something to use it for.
yeah. Well.
Did you start already?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I was like, oh, jeez. I was like, oh.
Yeah. No, it's like pretty informal, you know. So.
Okay.
And like I can always cut stuff out later.
Oh, cool.
But
Yeah.
sometimes I leave the
Let's
stuff
look at-
like starting before just because it's fun to listen to.
Oh, all right. Well,
No.
what do I need to sign anything?
No.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to another episode of Talk to Toe.
Awesome.
This podcast is brought to you by a couple broke grad students, per usual.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Science, I guess. Good conversations, just some curiosity and freedom of speech, I guess. But
Yes.
yeah, I'm joined today by my good friend Dat Nguyen.
Hello.
Yeah.
I don't know, how's everyone doing? But I guess they can't reply to you. So.
Yeah. Well, Dad and I have known each other for like what, 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yeah.
Duration of the PhD program.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna ask you a little bit about like what your experience is, because your experience is obviously a little bit different than mine. Obviously,
Sure. Yeah.
you took a different route. You grew up in Southern California, right?
Yes, I did.
Um,
So Anaheim. So
How's that experience?
it's good. So yeah, I enjoy having a school where I get to go home pretty often because sometimes you miss your family. So getting to go home and seeing them is always great.
Did you go to Disneyland a lot growing up?
I did not actually. I've only gone maybe 3 times. Once with my family, once for a grad night for 6th grade, and I think just one with my friends. But
Oh, you guys had a 6th grade grad night at Disneyland?
yeah, it was like from
That's awesome.
like 10 p.m. to like 6 a.m. Yeah, it was like, whoa, this is cool. It was like the first time being
That's
out super
crazy.
late. Yeah,
As a 6th grader, man,
yeah,
I would hate to be the chaperone.
yeah. I don't remember what happened, but I'm sure it wasn't anything too crazy. But it was really fun. So
Nice.
yeah, but yeah, I don't go to Disneyland that much. So
Yeah.
it's super expensive nowadays.
It's
anyways,
so expensive nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't know how much the pass is anymore.
it's over $1,000 for for a year.
A grand? Oh, for a year.
Yeah.
Oh, like a yearly pass.
Some of them are like $1.5 grand, I think.
Yeah, that's
Because the thing is, like, the pass now doesn't give you parking either.
What the hell?
Like, there's like it's only like the highest level pass that gives you
Really?
parking. So like, not only do you buy the pass, but now when you go there, you have to pay for parking each time. It's like $20 every time.
Dude, I live like pretty close to Anaheim, so I should just be like, hey, park here for $5 and you can just Uber there. So
Dude, that's what people do at what is it, the Staples Center in LA?
Yeah.
If you go to the Staples Center in LA, literally like for the next like 8 blocks in every direction, there's just like parking.
Yeah.
But they charge you like absurd amount of money, like $40. But people will still pay it.
Yeah,
They're just like nowhere else. It's still cheaper than paying for the actual parking.
Yeah, so I went to a couple Clippers games.
Yeah.
And because I went to USC, so I just Uber there, and it's so much more convenient because you can get dropped off wherever you want, and because even if it's like you don't get dropped off at the Staples Center, but that's okay. Just get dropped off a couple blocks further from it.
Just walk.
Yeah, just walk because there's no rush, and rather not be in traffic once you're in there. So.
No, I totally agree. Uber's definitely changed things for the better, I think.
Yeah, Uber and Lyft and
although they pissed off a lot of city governments doing that.
Yeah, I thought those rules. Well, no, that's with Airbnb, right? Where you can't have your Airbnb close to Disneyland. That's what I heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they want to make profit. That's what I heard, but
that makes sense because Disneyland basically has like agreements with like all the hotels right in that area.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
so
it makes sense though, because it's a big.
They make so much money anyways. Like,
oh, my friend, he got passes to the new Star Wars land.
Oh yeah.
And it's like so expensive for like a lightsaber and like a flight of beers. I forgot he was saying it was like I totally forget. But I know people nowadays are buying flights there and then reselling them on like Amazon or eBay or Craigslist just for like 200%.
That's crazy.
The actual worth because no one's got it yet, so they might as well buy it now and then make profit off of it. Yeah, he goes a lot, but I'm like, yeah, I think like a basic beer is like $12-15 there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think I'm actually underselling it, but
yeah, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it was more expensive.
Wow, that's way above my budget, man.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Right.
not. That's why I don't go to Disneyland. It's just you can't get into lines.
See,
you can't get food.
I haven't been to Disneyland for like probably over 10 years. Either. So yeah.
Once you go, it's like you experience the kind of the joy of it. So
I might as well spend that money to go to Disney World at that point.
You just travel. That's my thing.
Or just go somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, like people who spend a lot on like Disneyland or I'm like, dude, just go travel. Go like Germany, Berlin, Canada.
Yeah,
that's kind of my philosophy.
Have you traveled a lot? Have you been?
Not really. So not really. I've only been in the States. I haven't gone outside.
Okay.
But my parents want to go to Belgium next summer.
Okay.
Because this year we took them out to Philly and New York, and they seem to like it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they want to go. I'm down to kind of go, just like the time and the money.
I would say it's worth it, just because. At least for me, like I've traveled quite a bit out of the country.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
And yeah, I mean, I honestly have my parents to thank for that, because you know they're not from the States, so they were super big about like when we were growing up. My brother and I, they'd be like, "You guys need to see what life like is outside the United States, so you appreciate what life is like here." Yeah. So yeah, the first time we were out of the country, I was probably like 4 years old.
Wow.
And my brother was probably like 2.5.
Wow.
So
where'd you guys go?
We went to China and Singapore.
Okay.
So my brother probably doesn't remember most of that first trip.
Yeah, 2 years.
I do remember a lot of that because I was like almost 5 at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like China is like a very different place.
Yeah.
And like I think people like kind of know that, but like until you're there, you don't realize like how culturally different a place can be. Yeah. Like every aspect is just completely different.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. Like even here, I feel like even in California, it's culturally different. So to even go to different country in city with different democracies is going to be mind blowing. Once I try to get out of here and explore. But yeah, I guess for me though, my parents immigrated from here. So
where did they immigrate from?
Huh?
They immigrated from
Vietnam
after the war.
Yeah. Okay. So money's been tough. So we didn't have the luxury to get out there. But now, like as I have 3 brothers and we all have jobs or I mean I consider this a job, but we all have 2 degrees. So now we're making that money, trying to treat them out and also trying to explore. So
nice.
Yeah, man, I gotta wait until I get a real job.
You definitely appreciate like what your parents have done for you, like as you get older. You know, because like when you're growing up,
for sure,
you're just like, oh, like why are my parents so strict? Especially like in Asian families, right?
Yeah.
Because like my mom was also the same way, because she and my dad too, like because they grew up with like basically nothing.
Yeah.
Like
especially coming over here.
Yeah, like my dad was an orphan actually.
Oh really?
So he was adopted. He was the youngest of 10 in his biological family.
Okay.
And his biological family basically couldn't support him.
Okay. So
he got adopted by like this Christian family in Singapore who are also Chinese, but like
okay.
So that's how he grew up, and then my mom was like growing up at the end of the Cultural Revolution in China. Okay. So they didn't have that much food and stuff either.
That's good. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people like it's hard. I feel like. As an Asian kid growing up in America, because your parents are super strict on you, and you don't fully understand why.
Yeah, exactly. They're just trying to be like, hey, you have so much opportunity here. Yeah. Study and take advantage of it.
Yeah, but it's just because they really care about you, and they want you to succeed. And like now that you're older, you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're all like, oh yeah, it's a luxury to be here rather than where we could have been. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely see that. So
yeah. So I kind of wanted to ask you, like, I guess where'd you go to college first?
Sure. So I got my undergrad in chemical engineering at Cal State Long Beach, and then got a master's at USC, and then decided to do a PhD at UCI.
Nice. What was the thought process for going from let's start with Long Beach to USC? Yeah. So when you were graduating Long Beach, what were you deciding? Like obviously you were probably thinking about jobs, but then you were kind of thinking about grad school.
Yeah. So my motivation to go to USC for master's was because at Long Beach I did a chemical engineering degree, and my goal was to create pharmaceuticals or products to help people.
Okay.
But at Cal Long Beach they have, like, I guess, connections with Tesoro and Chevron, so they emphasize oil and refinery and making that money. So that wasn't my cup of tea. Like, I guess over that time actually became more like we should go green, guys, because I just didn't like how we were ruining the planet with that. So
there's still a lot of refineries in Long Beach too.
Yeah, there is still. So but yeah, like their curriculum didn't really emphasize pharmaceuticals or medical devices, and so I figured to better equip me to work in the bioengineering space is to get a master's. So I applied to a lot of schools. So yeah, I actually thought I was kind of like dumb, like, dude, I'm not gonna make any schools, but I got like accepted to like all of them, which is pretty cool.
Dang, nice.
Yeah, I actually got like scholarship to UC Riverside, but once I got into UC, I was like, yeah, I could live by myself, can like party in LA, kind of have like more school spirit, so decided to go to USC. But yeah, that's the main reason why I went to USC, but also why I transitioned from chemical engineering to biomedical engineering.
Nice.
Because
and USC's program is pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Biomedical engineering. They're also building a lot there now.
Yeah, they got a new like Michelson Center building.
Yeah, it's like all for BME basically.
Yeah, I've dropped by once, and I think it's gonna be pretty similar to the new building that we'll have.
Okay.
Because it's an open space lab. But I don't know if people like that or not. I know my PI Elliot doesn't like that, but some people do.
Oh, because you guys are in shared lab space also.
We have our own.
Oh, okay.
We have our own like room, and people who like, for example, Elliot, they don't like having people look at their devices that they make just because for patents and potential products that they can create. They don't want people spying on them. But
yeah,
I'm sure that building's gonna be state of the art though. Like,
yeah, that's kind of interesting because I think a lot of professors have different, I guess, views on that.
Yeah.
You know, but I guess before we touch on that, like, when you graduated with a master's at USC and you were thinking about a PhD, what was that like?
Can I cuss on this show?
I mean, I don't care.
I was like, legit, I'll just apply and see if I get in. If I get in, I'll do it, I guess, because if you get in, that means someone thinks you're worthy of it. I honestly didn't really have I wasn't a person who was like, I need my PhD. I was just like, I'll throw my application in there and see what happens. So, I got in, and I was like, I guess I'm doing it. I'm not even kidding. I was like, oh, crap. Because I told my parents, they're like, you're going to do it. And I was like, okay, I guess so. So that, I had no true motivation to come here. And
now that you're 2 years in, are you glad you did it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning a lot. I feel like I wear so many hats because here, at least for my project, I'm like a molecular biologist, I'm a chemist, I'm a biomedical engineer, I'm an electrical engineer. So having all these hats, I think looks good on my resume. And it's going to translate well once I try to get a job.
Yeah, and it also gives you like that flexibility where you know that you're capable of doing a lot of things. Yeah. So you're a little bit more confident that no matter what comes before you, you can like do it. You know?
Yeah. I think one thing that Rachel Gerlin said was that you learn to learn everything. Yeah. Like if I need to learn, I don't know, Python for my project, I'll learn it and I'll excel at it.
That's true.
If you don't need to, then you won't. But being like versatile, you do this process, you know you can adapt and learn things because do this PhD, you have to do so many things. Yeah.
Alright, so I guess next thing I'm gonna ask you is about your research, but I know you can't talk too much about it.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, what is it that you do? What are you researching? What problems are you trying to solve?
Coming in, I guess on our the graduate student orientation, BME orientation, Elliot suggested he talked in front of us, talked about a device that could help diabetic individuals, and to me that was very interesting because I have a couple friends back at home who have diabetes, and that kind of compelled me to reach out to him. And talking to him, the project was creating a device that can help measure insulin, and it would be in collaboration with the chemistry group. And for me, I wanted to work with medical devices, learn how to make them. So working with him to create this medical device was like an obviously like no-brainer. Like I gotta rotate with him and talk to him about it. And yeah, like his lab is known for using light to measure different analytes. So his lab uses optical tweezers to measure stiffnesses around cells.
Right.
But also.
So what is an optical tweezer for the non-science?
Oh people? Yeah, optical tweezer is when, let's say you have a bead and you wiggle it with light, and depending on how much resistance there is, you can determine how stiff a material surrounding the bead is.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think that's
so you can wiggle things with light.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's super hard to make on their own because.
Yeah. But it's possible.
Yeah, it's super possible. Yeah, people like in our lab we do things hands-on, we create our own stuff. So, a couple graduate students had to create their own optical tweezer system, and it's been rough. Like I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry that you guys had to make this, but it's super beneficial for them because they know all these things about light and mirrors and objective lenses and blah blah blah. That sounds super cool.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, and then he also works with. He has this like startup company that uses light to measure glucose and lactate. Okay. So, like, yeah, his lab's definitely like a biophotonics lab, and that's
so you guys are technically in Beckman Laser Institute?
Okay. So he has one lab in Engineering Hall and one lab in Beckman Laser Institute.
Okay, and you primarily work in the one in...
EH, actually.
Engineering
Hall, yeah. I get a lot of help from people from BLI, but I just work in Engineering Hall because...
Okay. So, like, Breton's lab and Digman's lab? Or...
Well, that's natural sciences.
Oh, natural sciences,
yeah.
Okay.
We're in, like, the...
so, like, Cody's lab.
That's BLI.
Okay. Man, dude, everyone's all over the place.
It's like Ryan and Ben's lab in building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Engineering Hall.
Yeah.
No, maybe?
No,
next to Gateway. No, it's next to Java City.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, because my lab's not there, so I rarely go over there.
So. Yeah. Yeah, once you match, you're kind of stuck in your own buildings and in your own cubicles to do your own stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, you had to, like, sign, like, an NDA and everything?
Yeah, I signed an NDA, yeah. I was like, whoa, okay, this is cool, though. Kind of, maybe I'm exaggerating it, but it's like, oh, cool, maybe what I'm doing can actually be translatable. So that was exciting. But yeah, so... yeah, I have 2 platforms that I work on, like an optical fiber, and then I'm also trying to, what can I say? Because no one knows who John. No one who knows who John is, but I use a flex circuit to use light to measure different things.
What is a flex circuit?
It's just a flexible, flexible circuit. Yeah, and the goal and the reason for that is that it can be implanted in your body.
Got it.
Rather than be like a stiff material that's flexible and doesn't hurt as much once you implant it.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So it's we're starting that side of it like now because the optical fiber cell looks pretty good, and for me, for my own training, I want to start making my own medical device. So
nice.
It's very exciting to finally work on like a translatable, implantable device. I'm super stoked for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the qualification exam is coming up for you soon?
So I haven't even talked to Elliot about that, to be honest.
Okay.
I've been focused on like getting the paper out.
Okay, so you're trying to publish right now?
Yeah, I want to publish.
We're trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, I want to get paper out first and then qual, just because we're pretty close to publishing. So might as well just focus on one thing at a time. Just from people's advice, I don't really know if it matters when you qual. Maybe you can tell me.
Yeah, so I guess for people who are listening and may not be in a PhD program, the qualification exam is kind of like, I guess you would call it the midpoint of your program.
It's a good checkpoint.
Yeah, basically it's like you have to pass this exam to what's called advanced to candidacy. And at that point you stop becoming a PhD student and you become a PhD candidate. Yeah. It's a subtle difference, but basically it means that they think you can finish your dissertation. That's like the simplest way to put it. Like, okay, this person's probably capable of finishing their dissertation. But it's also kind of a institutional check to make sure that the research you're doing isn't going down a rabbit hole that will not work. Yeah, that's true. So like for me, I haven't published yet, but we were already in the midst of publication.
Oh, I see.
So Dr. Birdie was like more than comfortable letting me do my qualification exam because he knew that our stuff worked.
Nice. Yeah.
Even though we hadn't published yet, he knew it worked. So like
that's good enough.
So that's good enough. And a lot of it is pretty I don't know. A lot of it's formalities. The actual exam.
That's good.
When you do it, kind of doesn't matter. Everyone's experience is different because you need 5 professors, PhD professors, to be on the exam. But for people like Ryan and Ben in the ophthalmology lab, like those 5 faculty are basically all from their lab.
Yeah.
Even though you're technically not supposed to do that.
Jerry, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but since Jerry's not affiliate with BME at all, then he counts as the outside. So like, because you're supposed to have 3 core faculty, 1 that's like still within the School of Engineering, then 1 outside the School of Engineering to like make sure you get a breadth of people to like look at your research. But a lot of it ends up being a formality. You do like an hour long. Well, for me, it was like an hour and a half long presentation because they would ask you questions in between your presentation, and then they would kind of ask you more questions to like kind of check your knowledge about like the science and like check that you understand like things. But for me, it was actually a lot of like just discussion of like their cool ideas about my research.
I hope I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't ask me about my projects.
I actually like, aside from the first part where I was talking a lot, that part sucked. But the end part was actually a lot of fun for me.
Cool.
Because I was able to like actually engage in these intellectual discussions with these professors, and they had like really good ideas. Like, oh, like did you consider this? And like, have you tried this? I was like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
The reason we haven't tried this yet is because of that, but like, I would definitely want to try that. And I actually picked up a lot of good ideas from them because of it. So a lot of it is kind of formalities.
Yeah, People, I don't know. People have like 2-hour quals. People have 1 hour. So I think the best thing to do is just prepare for 2 hour. But like, hopefully, just ends in an hour and quick and go.
Yeah.
Quick check and go.
You block out 2 hours and then aim for your presentation to be like less than an hour.
Yeah.
With like,
I feel like that's easy.
30 or 45.
As in like getting all your material within like an hour, I would think.
It should be. If you know your material well,
yeah.
But you also kind of have to gauge how much your panel knows.
Oh, that's a good way.
So for me, it was kind of weird because I had a lot of BME people. But a lot of them were from the biology background. And since a lot of our stuff is like computational, I had to talk a lot about the computational stuff. But then my outside faculty, he was from the information and computer sciences school.
He was good.
So he didn't know any of the bio stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of actually had to like just start from
both.
the beginning because like I had to make sure that everyone was on the same page.
Yeah.
Of like both the bio and the computer science.
Yeah.
And then I could get into like my stuff.
That's tough.
So you kind of need to gauge like who's on your panel and like how much
they actually
you need to tell them to like make sure that they understand what your research actually is. But
did the external person actually help you a lot?
Not really.
You should say this, but yeah, because I'm like they're just there for formality type of what you just said.
Yeah.
So
they're there for formality, and like I think they like hearing other research. Obviously, that's like not theirs.
We all do.
It's like somewhat related to their stuff. But obviously he didn't know a lot of the specifics, so he was able to give me like general stuff about like machine learning in general.
That's cool. Who was the toughest on your panel?
Probably Dr. Brewer, actually.
Okay, Brewer.
Yeah, I don't know how much you know about Brewer, because I actually did my first rotation with Brewer.
Oh.
Before the academic year started. I did it during the summer.
Oh, summer.
Yeah.
No, I don't know too much.
He's like a great scientist and like a great guy. But he's like very old school in the way he does things, because he was like he was the person who created the media culture that lets us culture neurons. The media culture. Yeah, like the media.
Yeah, wow.
Like he created that.
Really, that's crazy.
So like, I think he's super humble about it. That's the thing. It's like, so most people don't know, but like,
yeah, I didn't know that.
Like,
but does he do? I didn't know he does like cell culture. I thought he's all neural or like computational.
Well, his stuff is like computational, but the way they get their data is that they culture mouse neurons.
Oh, okay.
On a like electrode plate, and the electrode plate like reads all the electricity from the neurons, and that's the research. And then they get all that data, and then they process the data.
I see.
But they still do like neuron cell culture.
Yeah, I see.
So but he was the guy who created that the cell media that basically everyone uses to culture neuron cells now.
Wow.
And like he would know. Honestly, I don't know.
How much do you get out of that?
He definitely gets royalties for some of it.
Yeah, hopefully. That's
but
crazy.
And like, so I had to send my CV or his CV to Claire when she was still our coordinator because she had to send it to
like grad division
or something. And because he's technically emeritus.
Okay.
So like, because he's like kind of retired, but he's still here.
Yeah.
So he's part of BME, but he's not a core faculty. So I had to get like an exception for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, like his CV was so long. He literally has
like a book.
It was like pages.
Yeah.
And like single spaced.
Oh yeah.
Like pages of just like publications.
That's cool. That's crazy.
So,
does he still have a lab right now?
Yeah.
Who does?
Yeah. He's in NS2.
Yeah. Who do we know anyone that?
I don't know anyone from our year that's in his lab.
Yeah.
He usually has like 1 or 2 postdocs.
And
then I don't know really what else. Who else is in his lab?
I know some of the new people are interested in him. I'm like, I know he does like computational work, but I can't really.
He's like a fount of wisdom.
Yeah.
I would say like he's definitely someone that you should at least spend some time talking to. I would recommend. Because he just like has so much knowledge about like life.
Yeah.
In general.
It's nice to have like, that type of mentor.
So.
To like pick their brains and.
Yeah.
Be like, what did you regret when you were my age?
Yeah, but you do have to be aware that he's like very old school in the way he does things.
Yeah.
So some people might not like that. Like for me personally, the only reason I didn't do his lab is because it just wasn't the research I wanted to do.
Okay,
like it wasn't what I was interested in.
Yeah.
It was computational stuff, but it wasn't like the type of computational stuff that I wanted to do.
Sure.
And I also like really don't like doing cell culture.
Yeah, dude.
So.
I don't like working with cells either. So if I can try to avoid that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But like I'm kind of doing some of that now, so I have to make my own protein. So it's not really cell work, but working with biology.
So making your own protein, what does that entail?
Sure. So I think I can say this. We use like a fret protein, and we just.
So what is fret? I know what fret is.
I don't know, dude. Oh shit. No, I was kidding. Pretty much fret is where, for our purposes at least, it tells you that once an analyte has bound to a protein, the protein undergoes a conformational change, and you can...
Like a shape change.
Shape change, yeah, sorry. And then you can, I guess, quantify and make sure that physical change has occurred by shooting light onto it. So without the conformational change, you get 1 light back, but with the conformational change, you get 2 lights back. And then for us, we can, or we want to at least, determine how much of each light is sent back to you, so you can quantify the concentration of analyte or biomolecules that are bound to the protein.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you guys are trying to make sure that the amount of protein that is being used is actually the amount that you think is being used.
Well, we want to, we want to translate that to physiological signals, I guess. Like how much of this is in your body using fret. Yeah. But yeah, so we use a known calcium indicator known as Twitch2B, and it binds the calcium. So when it binds the calcium, it produces 2 unique light signatures, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, shoot, should I say this? I start like bashing my people, but like the collaboration, right? But politics happened, so now I have to make my own protein. When I signed up for people I signed up knowing that people would make it for me, but now
you have to do it yourself.
I gotta do it myself, so it's it's fine. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I kind of like at first I was like, WTF? But now I've just accepted the fact, kind of just shut up and do your work type of thing. But
some things are out of control.
Yeah, but I learned a lot about molecular biology, which is pretty cool. But I mean, there's always things I can do on the engineering side of the collaboration that I wish I could do rather than making the protein myself.
Yeah. So when we were going through like our first year classes, since you didn't have like that much bio background, what was that like? Because you obviously knew the math.
Yeah, I was good at math. Let's see. I used a waiver for Digman's class, which I probably shouldn't have, because that's part of the biology that I didn't know. With the Grossberg's class, I took a similar class already. So like perfusion and diffusion and blah blah blah. That stuff was fine. What other class did we take? Oh, and then the port class.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty fine too.
Yeah.
I think it's the pure biology stuff is like something that I lack. But
okay. But now you're kind of like.
I'm okay with it. Like, yeah, like. I don't know, primers. What the hell are those? Like
DNA, RNA.
DNA ligase. Like, oh, I guess that is very important for what I need to do. So
yeah, I kind of am in that space now. Like I've learned that stuff before, you know, like multiple times, but like I've never had a reason to like
know it by heart.
Yeah, intimately know it until I started doing my research. Too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, like I learned these things probably once, but I'm like. I need an A in the class or something, so I'm just like I'll learn it for a month and I'll forget it. But now it's starting to bite me in the butt because I'm like, oh, yeah, because you know this makes an amino acid and they have peptide bonds. So I'm like, yeah, I know this stuff. So
yeah,
it's definitely it's good to know regardless.
Yeah,
like, I appreciate it now that I'm doing it, but yeah, it doesn't hurt to know more about everything.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, hope that you're now aware that we have our podcast up on Spotify, Google Play, and also Apple Podcasts. Additionally, we started a YouTube channel and we'll be slowly improving our video content there, so be sure to head over there to like and subscribe. Now, back to the show. So, I guess you go home quite often, you said?
To what?
You go home?
Oh, I like every 2 or 3 weeks, so next week I'll be going home.
Nice, that's more than I go.
Yeah, how many times do you go home?
Usually only for the big holidays.
Oh.
It's far, man. It's 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Without traffic through LA.
Yeah, it's tough.
So.
Yeah, mine's like 40 with traffic, so it's not bad. I usually go Friday nights or Saturday mornings.
Nice.
So it's not, unless there's a crash, it's pretty good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I definitely wish I could go home more, but it's just not practical.
Yeah, I mean, because also I have 3 brothers. 2 of them moved out.
Okay.
And 1 of them's still there, so it's nice to.
So what number are you?
I'm number 3. So I have 2 older twins.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm the middle, but number 3, and then I'm younger brother. Yeah. So yeah, everyone's moving out. Everyone's getting jobs, so it's hard to have everyone home together. So it's kind of. Well, like we all come home like on Saturdays just to, go to church and stuff. But yeah, it's like.
Did you grow up going to church?
Huh?
Did you grow up going to church?
Yeah, so I grew up going to church through undergrad, and then once I went to USC, I mean, there's a church there, but there's also a lot of things to do in the meantime. Yeah. So I didn't stop going, and then now I just go when I go home.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can talk about faith.
Yeah, you want to? I mean, because I grew up going to church also.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't actually I went to church because I was supposed to. Basically.
Yeah, but you still go now, right?
Yeah, I still go now.
For the same reason or different?
No, partly, I guess during my college, time at UCLA, when I was at UCLA, I had, no intention of, really continuing to go to church.
Yeah.
But I just met a lot of people who I was like, oh, wow, these people, it was through an organization called Crew, which I still have out with now. But basically, I met a bunch of people, and I was like, oh, these people, actually
get me.
Well, not just get me, but they actually care about this.
Okay.
Because
this being religion or
religion and their faith in general, and not only that, but they actually are trying to live out
the word of God.
Yeah, the Bible, and a way where it's realistic. Also, understanding that people are faulty and are gonna mess up, and just being honest about that. And I'd never really experienced that growing up.
Yeah,
it was more just this institutional thing.
Sure.
You know, it's this is the church, and people go to this church.
Yeah,
and they do these things as tradition, basically.
That's probably where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess for me at least, through college, that time in college, I was basically asking myself do I actually believe this?
Yeah.
And if I do actually believe this, does my life actually reflect that I believe this? Yeah. And I basically came to the conclusion, I was oh, I think I do believe this, but my life right now definitely doesn't reflect that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. But I guess what is your background in faith and church and stuff like that?
Let's see. So, I was in a church group from yeah, like 9 years old to undergrad, so more than a decade for sure. And then we didn't have that feeling you just mentioned, like people who actually want to be there because of like they cared for God, or at least I don't think so.
Okay.
People could say otherwise, but
yeah.
Like I was in the cabinet for it, and like I enjoyed being there because I was getting back to the community by teaching these like young children about the Bible. But once I left, I was busy too, so it was hard for me to get back into that organization. But I guess once I left, I started to like, I don't know if I need God, and also like if God was here, but why are these things happening? I guess that's probably the biggest question I have. If someone can answer it really well for me, then I'd probably like be super into religion.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope there is a God, but right now I'm like, I just am hoping. That's the kind of thing, right?
I mean, that's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
That's like, I think one of the hardest questions
Yeah.
that anyone is going to be faced with.
Yeah.
Especially in faith and like religion in general. Like regardless of what faith or religion you might be, it's like, yeah, because like our world is not.
Yeah. And just like
not great sometimes.
Yeah, like I guess people can say that people are here to represent something, but I'm like, yeah, you take away my mom, she's not. I'm gonna be super sad. That doesn't represent anything to me. Or like, the person who's poor, I don't need them to suffer for me to learn that things are hard. If that makes sense, because they're suffering, and I don't understand why someone would do that.
Yeah,
that's my reasoning about things.
And I mean, I totally get where you're coming from too. Like, I think, for me, I definitely don't have the answer to that, obviously, but I guess the way I've always thought about it is like, if the Bible is true, like, and if, I guess like, I learned like, oh, like maybe these stories in the Bible, like especially for like the Garden of Eden, like maybe it is like kind of explaining just like how the world got to the way it is, you know? And I was like, oh yeah, like it is like an acknowledgement that the world is imperfect.
Yes.
But that there is a reason that the world is imperfect.
Okay.
So like for me, it's like I think the thing that bugs me is if like people who like say they follow a certain faith like don't acknowledge like the fact that like the faith also like does acknowledge that the world's imperfect.
Oh, I
that
see,
makes sense. Like
yeah.
So it's like I don't know. That's a tough one because it's like
because I guess for me, I always thought that God controls everything. So like all these things are His doing. So it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And then if He's not controlling everything, then what is God?
What is God?
What is God? So
those are important questions to ask.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure someone told me the answer, and I was taking like Bible classes, but I forget or something. Or yeah. But I definitely, on a side note, I definitely feel like I don't know. I wish I could be more spiritual. Sometimes I'm like, dude, if I went to church, I'd probably be more relaxed as an individual. But I'm like, I don't know. It's just like I need to find a church, or like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you ever want to go to church, I mean, I try to go every Sunday, and I usually do, depending on how lab stuff goes and how work goes. But I think there's a lot of questions that you also kind of just realize, and this is kind of the PhD program too. You realize that there's so much we don't understand about the universe. Yeah, for sure. Like even with science, like we're like always trying to explain how things work, you know. But there's always still that like that we're just like, man, we still do not understand how this works. Yeah. And like, I think you're right. Like, if God exists, like, and the world is like still has like people who are suffering and stuff like that. Like, is that because God is like doing that, or is that because of the fact that we as people like are trying to make ourselves like capable of solving the world when we're not capable, and like maybe we're the ones causing the issues. That's true too. Yeah. And like that's kind of the perspective I take. I think it's like, I think just because things happen, that doesn't mean that like God doesn't care that those things are wrong. But it's also like if he were to control everything, then we wouldn't have like free will, you know.
It's true.
So that it's a weird thing to think about because it's like there's a lot we don't understand. But if God were to like just control everything, then would that really be like?
But we wouldn't know He's controlling everything.
That's true.
That's the thing. Like,
but do we?
What is Adam?
But what do we know right now?
That's the thing. We know what He's letting us know. I guess I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's tough.
Like our lives are already predetermined.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Oh, that's a huge question that most Christians within the church even disagree on. So
it's like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can think of it like this. It's like our lives can be predetermined from the perspective of God. Mm-hmm. But if God is like, as the Christian faith basically like states, God is like outside of time and space.
Okay.
So, supposedly, whatever that means.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Whatever that means, right? So like, from God's perspective, like our lives might be predetermined. But from our perspective, like, it's not predetermined because we have free will.
Yeah.
And if, like, because, like, we're, like, incapable, I guess, of seeing both happen at the same time.
Okay.
Because, like, the way our universe works is, like,
we have time and space.
We have time and space, and, like, you can't be predetermined and also have free will.
Yeah.
But, like, what if that's possible? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, what if it is possible?
What if it's possible that our lives could be predetermined, but we also at the same time have free will, at least from our perspective, because like we're operating within the confines of time and space. But if there's
how do we know? How do we check? How do we?
Yeah, how do you test that?
How do you test it?
So like as scientists, like we obviously want to quantify things and we want to test things.
Numbers.
But I've also found that like, when you start really delving deep into like the science of what we do, and like especially for biology, like when you start trying to quantify things in biology, it quickly becomes apparent that like all of our quantification is like still somewhat incomplete, because like even for things like genetics or like number of cells, like we can't even quantify how many cells are in a person, let alone like a person's like nail. Like we can't even do that. So there's like obvious limitations to like the scope of our knowledge, and I think like that's part of the cool thing about being in a PhD program is that you get to explore that. And I think there's a lot of overlap between how you ask those questions about like whether or not God exists, and also like that search for like, you know, how do you solve an engineering problem? Because one question that always kind of was in the back of my mind is like, okay, we're like discovering all these like laws of nature, right? And as we're discovering these laws of nature, we're putting names and numbers on them, like
gravity.
Like gravity, like we're calling this gravity because we discovered that it's a law of nature. But then the question always bugged me is like, well, that law of nature existed before we discovered it.
Yes.
Like why?
Oh, before, like, you mean like humans were?
Yeah, before humans discovered it, right? So like we're putting, so we're able to discover these things and like learn them, and we can learn how to work with them and manipulate them. But they were already there before we discovered them.
Like they weren't there just for humans to.
They might have been, but like, but they were already there.
Yeah.
So like it's a weird like.
That's true.
Thought problem thing, because it's like, okay, like if they were already there, and like based on our current knowledge of physics, like there was a beginning of time. Yeah. Like what does that mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good question. Yeah.
So
why are things as such?
Yeah. So that was one of the things that I came to when I was like trying to figure out like what I actually believed about faith. I was like, okay, like once I started thinking about things like that, I was like, the possibility that a God exists seemed a lot more plausible. Okay. And there's also like less, I guess. There's no way to prove or disprove whether or not God exists. Yeah. And like I think that's going to be an ever present fact of just like how we are, but like how in the world we live in. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's gonna. I don't know, man. I wish I knew so I could go.
Yeah.
I wish I knew so that we could be more. I don't know. I want to be religious, but just like I don't know if it's. Like even sometimes I feel like the preachings are outdated sometimes.
I can see how you can see that because I felt the same way too. Yeah. And one thing I also had to learn was like there's a lot about religions, especially religious institutions, that I think are created by people.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is like a lot of it can be cultural. So like we do these things because we've always done these things.
Yeah.
But these things were created by people. But there is an aspect about religion that I think is beyond the scope of like a single culture and beyond the scope of like what people have created, and like there's like some truth behind it. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah. And I think that is like typically the core of like what most Christians believe is like there is that fundamental truth. Yeah. But there is a lot of things that are blended into the way churches do things in general that have become very cultural. Yeah. And I would argue that those things are more because of people and not necessarily because of like the objective truth behind it.
Do you think that's true for the Vatican too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the Vatican
it probably is true. Yeah, I would say yes too.
The Vatican's like a very political entity now.
Yeah.
And like I don't know how much of the actual like Bible when you read it ever said that there should be like a Vatican.
Yeah,
like,
a Mecca for.
If that makes sense. Yeah. Like, cause like when I actually started reading, cause I never really read the Bible for myself, and then like I started reading like portions of at least like the New Testament. And I was like, this is like not what I thought it was.
Yeah, that's what.
But it's what I perceived because I saw it in the frame of like the church that I was in, and a lot of that was cultural.
Yeah. Totally.
And a lot of that was because of the Chinese culture that was behind it too. So like, for me, I was really confused. I was like, wait, like I thought this is what faith was, but it was like, no, this was the faith that
I grew up with. Yeah.
And like there are good aspects about that, but like a lot of it was
bad too.
Was cultural. Yeah. Not necessarily like the actual like.
Yeah.
Faith. So, and then when I came to that realization, I was like, oh, dude, I really need to figure this out for myself.
Yeah.
Because
it's not
just something that someone can tell me.
Yeah. And if you really want to know, you have to dive into it and do it for yourself. So this is gonna be a weird tangent, but people, when the Sabrina TV show came out recently, the Netflix one.
Like maybe I haven't.
It's like last year.
Okay, I haven't been keeping up with Netflix.
It's really cool. Like that they've switched it from like the teenage show to like Satanism.
Oh, interesting.
And like my friends were telling me the 10 laws of being a Satanist, something like that, and it's nothing like really like atrocious, if that makes sense. It's like if people hurt you, like you don't have to hurt them, but you can.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not anything like you can kill people. It's just like like only if people hurt you first, you can go back. Like retrospect. So kind of back to what you're saying, like maybe if people took their own time to actually dive into these things, they'll be like, oh, this is not what it is. The culture has defined it in a way that I thought it'd be like this, but if I actually looked into it, it's not. It's totally different than what I've been told about it. So that was just really interesting to me because I don't remember it by hand, but I was like, whoa, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would sound like.
Interesting.
I was not gonna be a Satanist, but I was like, oh, I'm just like, whoa. Yeah, I was like, whoa, like these are reasonable and okay laws that I thought would be like coming in super stupid or like mean, but they weren't. I think that mean.
Yeah, I mean that's the interesting thing is like, I think we do live in an age where, at least in the United States, like people are typically less religious than they were like 20, 30 years ago.
Especially here in I think California.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing though, because at least in my opinion, like people could disagree with me. Sure, like that's fine. We live in a free country, but like thank God. But but the way I look at it is also like I think there is like a moral underpinning to how our society is built.
Yeah.
That
comes with religion.
that doesn't necessarily come with religion, but that originates for something beyond people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So think about it this way, like, we kind of all accept the fact that it's, like, not good to kill other people.
Yes.
So, why?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was gonna follow up with you. Like, you shouldn't kill people just because God's gonna, like, religion shouldn't be incentive to do good things.
Right. But I guess what I'm getting at is, like, from a moral perspective, it's like, for some reason, everyone has this perspective of, like, there is a standard.
Yeah.
Maybe people disagree on what that standard is.
Yeah.
But the idea of a standard still exists.
Yes.
Like, where did that come from? And why does that exist? So, like...
Well, I mean, there's obvious reasons why killing someone's bad.
Yeah. Like what?
I mean, why are you killing him in the first place?
Yeah, it's like... I guess from my perspective, it's like, I see another human being as, like, someone who is equally as valuable as I am.
Yeah.
So, like, because of that, if you see someone as value, then to end a life is, like, morally wrong, because it would be as if you were saying that I have more value than you do.
Oh, I see.
If that makes sense. And I have the ability and decision to choose whether or not you live.
Yeah.
So, like, from that perspective, it's like, well, because that idea that everyone has value, like, that didn't just come out of nowhere, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I guess I always think about it, like, as a family perspective. Because, like, if someone steals a bank and it's because their family's poor, I'm like, yo, I get it. And they're wrong, but to me, they're like, I'm okay with it. Like, you know, like, if you're down in the dumps and you have to steal to help your family, it's wrong, but it's not wrong.
Okay, but what if you're stealing from someone who also needs that for their family? Because that's essentially what you would be doing still.
Well, I feel like, that's true, but then I guess I have to create scenarios though.
Right. I mean, these are all like random scenarios that may or may not actually exist, but yeah, it's an interesting discussion.
Well, then does that person love his family more because he's willing to do more to rob that person?
Yeah.
You know, so it's always like you have to. I guess I'm empathetic and sympathetic to those who don't have anything, because I've always
and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah,
I think we should be empathetic and sympathetic to people.
But things are wrong when obviously it's not. There's a reason.
But do you solve a wrong by another wrong?
No, of course not. But I can like, if who knows, maybe this. I always try to give people like the benefit of the doubt, like oh, maybe their mom has cancer, or like I don't.
I think that's another thing that people kind of have trouble with, especially with Christianity, is because like I've heard this at least from people who ask me like, well, like if someone was like a horrible murderer and like at the end of their life they decided to like become a Christian, like would they still be offered like grace and like go to heaven?
Oh, I see.
And actually the Christian response to that is yes.
Yeah.
And people have a lot of issues with that, and I understand why people have a lot of issues with that.
That's an interesting thing too.
Because the fundamental like message of the Christian gospel is like basically like everyone is imperfect, and because of that everyone deserves like some sort of judgment.
Yeah.
But because God actually cares, he didn't like let people like just be judged. Yeah. But he actually did something about it and gave people an option to like come back to a relationship with God. Yeah. So like, that's a tough one too. Yeah. You know.
So is it like a CV, right? Like comparing. Sorry. you or versus like someone who is a drug addict in the last second was like, I believe in God. Right. Obviously, you've done more to. Right. You know, go to heaven than this person. So I don't know. Then like talking about thresholds, you need 5 acts per.
But I guess my point is like, from a Christian perspective, at least from my view, is like that threshold is the same for everyone, regardless of what you've done in your life.
Yeah, as long as there's like one.
And like just because I like quote unquote lived a better life, I don't think that means that I inherently have more value than someone who like did something terrible. I still think that from a Christian perspective, like that person still deserves the opportunity to at least be reconciled to, you know.
What if they killed someone? You okay?
I mean, I still, like, obviously I think that's wrong. Yeah. But I would hope that that person would still have the opportunity to change their life.
Yeah, but then isn't it hypocritical to be like, hey, last second, I ain't got anything. Yeah, this is obviously all this is made up, but and then last second, like, oh, I don't got anything. I can be a hypocrite and kind of work last second to go back to God, so that way I can go to heaven.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I think, but the thing is, like, if that person was actually thinking like that, I don't think they actually chose to follow God. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if that's their mentality in that last session, then I don't actually think they legitimately
actually believe in
God.
Oh, okay, shit. Okay.
Yeah, does that make sense? And it's also hard because like
yeah, that makes sense.
Obviously, this is all like kind of like a personal thing, so like you're never gonna know whether or not a person actually follows God.
Yeah.
And, like they might say they follow God. There's plenty of people who say they follow God.
Yeah, but
I mean, because I grew up saying I followed God, but I would argue that I actually didn't follow God until I got to college. So yeah, that's a good question though. Like, I guess that's my perspective on it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true though. At the end of the day, if they have that mindset, they actually don't believe in God, and so once they are at the door, God would know, and then they wouldn't get to heaven. I guess.
I don't know. It's an interesting topic, you know.
Yeah. So I remember you sent an email with like you, Hui, about like how they all believe in crew. Are they still in crew? Something like that.
No, I mean,
but they believe in Jesus.
It was run through crew. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe can you let me know how they think about religion as they do science? Cause I feel like the more you do science, arguably it's less to believe in.
Yeah. So that was a very interesting panel because it was basically 4 engineering STEM professors. Who are also Christians. Yeah. They were basically discussing like how does faith and science like intertwine and work together. Yeah. There's actually a video link to that panel somewhere on Vimeo, I think. I can send it to you.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you, and I can also post it on this podcast and video. But I guess I don't really want to speak for them, obviously, because they probably they're also probably way better at like talking about whatever it is than I am. But basically, I think there's this notion in our society that it's basically this secularism notion where, like, you know, separation of church and state, but that also somehow extended to separation of like faith and science. So we've kind of all been told that somehow, and like if you think about where, you kind of don't know.
Well, I mean, like evolution versus.
Yeah, that's a good question. And like this is the thing is, like, I think a lot of people think that like Christians all have the same perspective on evolution. Yeah. I don't think that's true. Okay. I personally like think that evolution on a micro scale makes a lot of sense. Yes. And what I mean by that is like, like people's genomes and stuff change a lot. Sure. There's a lot of evidence that mutations do happen, and then that like subtle traits might happen within a species. I think there's evidence that there are like creatures in the past that existed that we don't know of. Yeah. But I think we still miss a lot of information about whether or not it's possible for species to like evolve to the point where they like become new species, and like where that line is, if that makes sense. Okay. And part of that is because like a lot of our evidence for that is based on archaeological evidence, which is incomplete. Sure. Yeah. It's there. I think there's a lot of evidence for that, and I wouldn't be opposed to like that being a thing. Like I don't think that really conflicts with faith. Yeah. Like I don't really I never really understood how like the argument between evolution and like I'm not really sure how that conflicted with science. With well,
like, I guess how was faith. What was it? I guess who was the first? I guess with.
I guess where people get
like Adam and Eve, right?
Yeah, people get caught up on like, well, where did people come from? Yeah, right?
Exactly.
And like I understand that argument too. It's like, well, like so here's another thought experiment that I kind of came to the conclusion of. There are people, I do acknowledge that there are people who believe that the world is like, I don't know, like 10,000 years old and like that's it or whatever. That's like a very like, I would say that's like a very like fundamentalist, like Christian, like maybe more fringe Christian point of view. Yeah. But like there's also like scientific evidence that like the Earth is billions of years. I tend to lean towards that.
Sure.
But I also had this weird thought experiment where I was like, well, from a physics perspective, we came to the understanding with Einstein's theory that we don't understand how time really works.
Okay.
So this is a weird one.
Keep on going.
But this is all me musing. Okay. So like, I don't really have an issue with if the world is, 10,000 versus 2 million, 3 million years. I tend to think that it's like 3 million years old or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I realized like, well, we quantify time in our perception of time. And the weird thing about Einstein's theory of relativity is that it basically said that time moves differently based on the speed of light of where you're going.
Okay.
And also the distance you are in space.
Okay.
What that means is that our perception of time is different than the passage of time in another point in space.
That's what you're saying.
Okay, so like from the perspective of like...
So it's getting slower or faster?
Yeah, and then you add to the mix the Christian claim that God is outside of time and space.
Oh, okay.
So what does that mean?
Uh-huh.
Could our world be actually 3 million years old?
Or...
in our frame of reference.
Maybe.
But also simultaneously like a second old.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
In a frame of reference for being outside of time and space. If time moves differently.
Yeah. And
the fact is, the weird thing is that we've proved
But
that time moves differently in space based on where. Well, I don't know if that time moves differently is the way to like say that physically, but it's like, you know, we've proven that the theory of relativity exists because that's how our GPS works. The only reason our GPS works is because we've accounted for relativity.
Yeah.
So, I understand that argument, which is why I'm kind of like, I don't know if that really matters, because I think that evolution, if it did happen, like I don't really see how. I still think there's gaps in like how. First, how did a cell become multicellular? We haven't really figured that out.
How the first cell come to being.
How did the first cell come to being? We haven't figured that out. How did multicellular become like organisms, basically? And then we haven't figured out, is there actually like a way for a species to like completely change to a different species? I think there's maybe evidence for that. But then the question is, do people like fall into that category? And like I don't really know, because like there is obviously something weirdly different about people in the sense that we have this ability to ask these questions. Yeah.
Compared to like,
and we also have the ability to think about ourselves in a way that's like non-existent in the rest of the animal kingdom.
Sure.
Which I think is kind of weird. And like we haven't figured out that jump either. Like how do you how do you tie that from biology to like how did we get morality and like society from biology? I think there might be a link, but I don't think we have enough information yet to say that. So that's kind of my perspective on it.
Yeah. What's your thought on like climate change?
On climate change, I think it's happening.
What's the number one? I know people say the number one like way to prevent is like having actually prevent it or slow it down.
So here's the thing about here's the thing about climate change also that I will say. I think it's become very politicized, and because it's become politicized, I think it's actually polluted the scientific research.
Sure.
And what I mean by that is there's a lot of scientific papers out there that say climate change is happening, and then there might be like some studies that say climate change is happening, but it's not happening as fast as we think it is.
Oh yeah.
And like yada. There's a lot of papers like that, and like trying to parse through all of those papers is actually really difficult.
Sure.
Because you can kind of slowly start seeing people's bias in the papers.
Okay. Of course. Gotta publish.
But I think it's happening. But like, the way I think about it is that I think it's not as simple as people make it.
The problem or the solution?
The problem.
Okay.
No one talks about the solutions.
Okay.
No one really talks about the solutions. At least not on a societal political level. People talk about like, oh, we should do this and this and this.
Yeah.
But that's really more a lot of times on like a company-wide level or like an individual level. Like
sure. Yeah, it is.
Recycle more.
Yeah.
You know,
Toxic straws, don't do them.
On a governmental level, it's a lot more difficult to do that.
Of course.
Because you have competing nations, you have competing interests, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
But here's another thing that I also learned when I was looking into climate change specifically. So the climate changes obviously naturally, and then there's a component of the climate that changes because of human activity.
Yeah.
Figuring out how much is due to human activity and how much is due to natural is actually really difficult. So when you're looking at climate change, you're looking at broad trends over time.
Yeah.
And like right now, like there's obviously a trend that we're heating up the Earth faster than normal based on previous trends.
Yeah.
Now, is that because of humans alone fluctuating like the atmosphere and the climate more than we should, or is that because of like normal processions through how the Earth changes the climate? So the way to explain this, you have to kind of go to astrophysics.
Oh god, yay! I mean, joy, my favorite subject.
If you're willing to go to astrophysics, so the Earth is in an elliptical orbit around the sun.
Stop. No, just kidding. Keep going.
Yeah. So Earth is in an
square.
elliptical orbit around the sun, right?
Yeah.
So right now, our elliptical orbit is actually pretty circular.
Okay.
Which means that our summers and our winters are pretty even.
Yeah.
But historically, that's not always been true.
Okay.
So, the reason we have ice ages is because every like 10,000 years or so, our orbit around the sun actually becomes more of an actual ellipse.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's because of the gravity of Jupiter.
Okay.
And because Jupiter is so large that it actually changes the orbit of the planets around it over time.
Okay.
So what that means is that as the orbit becomes more and more elliptical, our winters become longer. And as the winters become longer, that means that you have more ice caps. When you have more ice caps, you reflect more sunlight, and the temperature starts dropping dramatically, and you have an ice age.
Wait, stop. Can you read the last sentence?
So
you reflect the sun more
because of the ice caps. Yeah. The ice is white.
Okay. Yeah.
So it reflects more of the heat off of the sun. So you actually start getting even more colder. So it's like exponential decrease of temperature.
Colder.
Yeah, colder. And because of the longer winters.
Wait, wouldn't they melt the ice? So then that would.
So yeah, but once the ice, because the ice is reflecting the sun, less of the heat is actually able to melt the ice.
Oh, so it's cold. So it remains.
It remains cold even during the summers.
Okay.
Because you have more buildup of ice.
Okay, got it.
So part of the reason like we're warming up right now is because we're losing the ice caps. So as the ice caps, as the ice caps are melting, we're reflecting less sun. So we're actually heating up faster exponentially the other direction.
Okay.
And part of that reason is because we're currently in a circular orbit.
Okay.
Which means that our summers and our winters are even.
Yes, I get it.
Which means that the summers are actually longer than they normally would be, and like they would also heat up and melt more of the ice, and then also you have this like compounding positive feedback loop of more heat. So like on a grand astrophysics level, it's
not.
Well, I don't think it's not because of. I think we definitely are contributing as humans.
But should we worry then?
But the question is how much, and even if we were to change the way we do things, would that solve a problem?
Well, I guess from you, is it even a problem?
I think it's a problem, yeah.
Because if it's just part of the natural cycle, then it's
I think it's
a problem for humans, but not for Earth.
It's a problem for humans, and I think it's a problem for the way life on Earth might interact with each other. But I'm also not entirely sure that it would mean the end of like of everything. And even if it was, then maybe it's our time to go anyways.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like
yeah, it does.
Because like it's not.
But then how long was that last cycle of elliptical, like circular?
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. Because we had a mini ice age around 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's kind of like if you ever seen an electrical signal, like the temperature fluctuations are like there's broad trends of dips and stuff, but it's like the stock market where like there's ups and downs also.
Yeah.
So we had a dip like about 10,000 years ago during the last ice age. But
now we're
but that was also like probably the end of like I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know.
If our orbit starts becoming more and more elliptical, we might actually start dipping again, but we don't know for sure. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's. Yeah. I think my thing is that even if it's not a thing, like there's no reason why we shouldn't use technology to.
Oh, I totally
advance.
agree. Yeah,
that's something that's not talked about. Like, sure, like it's natural that the world gets hotter, but let's not sacrifice science and innovation along the way, because
I think
that's gonna help.
Yeah, I think like global warming, climate change is still definitely happening.
Yeah,
I think the scientific evidence is very clear on that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like, yeah, I just think that people are
politicizing it too much.
They're doing more yelling than problem solving.
Yeah,
is my issue with it. It's like, I was like, okay, you're yelling a lot about it, and you're trying to like force people to do things.
Yeah.
I was like,
talking about Greta. I was kidding.
What? I don't know.
The little girl, Sweden.
Oh, what is that?
So she's like she has like autism. She's from Sweden, and then like 2 weeks ago she went to the United Nations.
I think I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a little girl. She was. I don't know.
I don't have an issue with that. I don't really care about that. But like,
I bring that up because in the meme she's like yelling. I don't know if she actually is yelling, and I don't listen to it.
Yeah, I think. See, that's the thing is like, you can appeal to people's emotions.
Yeah.
Pretty easily, but that doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah. Once they get home, they're like, the emotions kind of go away.
Yeah, and like, you can force people to do things, and like, try to force societal change, but I still don't think that solves the problem.
Yeah. Because
the thing is like, even if you force like a broad level society to change, you have to do it more. You have to do it in every country.
Yeah, there's a lot more than just
like, it doesn't matter if we do it in the United States, if we
don't do it in China.
Don't do it in China and India also. And I know people like, that's not a good argument. I agree, that's not a good argument. Like, we should still do it as the United States. But
to make that impact that we actually
if you actually want to make the impact work, you're gonna have to find some solution that ties in both how the governments around the world work.
Yeah.
The actual technical solutions that we need to implement.
Yeah.
We don't even know what a lot of those technical solutions are because like, it's incredibly hard to test that on a global scale.
Yeah. That's what people say. Yeah, like.
So like, we need to actually like find a solution first.
Yeah.
And like, we're spending more time yelling about it.
Yeah, we are.
And we're spending more time arguing about it too, which I think is more annoying. So like, for me, I'm just kind of like tired of it. I'm like, all right, like, even if people think it isn't happening, I think we should at least prepare as if it is happening.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no reason. There's no,
because at least we'd be prepared. Like, you know, it's
better be safe than sorry.
Yeah,
I guess is the major statement of everything.
I don't know. That was a lot of me talking. I'm just kind of like, those are things I've thought about. You know, like at one point or another. But yeah, I think there is a conflation between like Christianity and like a certain political side. I think that's rather inaccurate, because because if you talk to a lot of Christians, like, regardless, like, sure, there's gonna be some people who believe this, but there's also gonna be people who believe on the other side too.
Yeah,
like,
there's no one color fits all.
Yeah, it's like, if you're like, and that's the thing about political parties too. Like, even if you label people in political parties, there's always gonna be people in the middle. Yeah. And like, I think by and large, most people fall in the middle. Yeah. It's just that nowadays people think that people think that there's no middle, but there's actually a middle, and people are like, oh, like, if you believe this, you must also believe this. I was like, well, no,
that's
like,
true. It's just there's just too much arguing, like you said. There's no
there's no actual problem solving. It's like
clear communication. It's not there. So I don't know. I just thought that was a good segue from what you're talking about. Cause
I think
a lot more people out in the world now, and people don't know a lot of things, and it's a scary future, I guess, with everything going on. Like,
it's a scary future, but I think that, I think there's still hope.
Hope,
yeah, and I think that, I think what worries me most is that how pessimistic people have become.
I'm pretty pessimistic. I'm hella pessimistic. Like, why are we doing these things when we're all gonna die?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother topic.
It's another topic, like, but it's just not. I don't know. It's easier. It's hard to be happy, I guess. Hard to be optimistic when there's so many things that are not going great. Yeah. Because when things go wrong fast, it changes the trajectory. You know.
Yeah.
And you're never. I don't know. You're never doing things to. At least I don't know if this is right, but you never do things to maintain that happiness. You're doing things to recover from like sad things.
Sadness.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Interesting. Okay.
Like even like me, like why would you? Oh, one reason why we PhD is to make like have money, right? Because you don't want to be poor, that type of thing. You know. Yeah. Like a lot of people. Yeah. And like some people I know, why are you in a relationship? Not to be lonely. Like you're not meant to be happy. Well, I just don't want to be lonely. Like what does that mean?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I have heard that before too.
Yeah, and it's like they're just doing things to not be sad and not be in a pessimistic way, rather than finding a joy in doing these things.
Yeah, I guess for me, like, that's also where I think part of the reason we have a huge issue with mental health is like in this country now is like I think there is like a crisis of people not really finding meaning in what they do. Yeah, and like people not really knowing what there is, but I personally think a lot of that is in my faith and religion.
That's good.
If that makes sense. Yeah. And not just because like it's like joy in like it's joy in the hope, if that makes sense. It's like because I have hope in the fact that there is the possibility that things could be better, even though they are not now. And like not just like ignoring the fact that they are now, but like acknowledging that like the world's pretty messed up in a lot of places, in a lot of ways. Yeah. But there is
like hope
in that, and like because of that you can have joy despite the trials. Yeah. And like despite that also gives you the meaning of like what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. To remedy that in the ways that you can. And understanding that you cannot remedy all of them. Yeah. But despite that, knowing that there is a God who does care and like does want to and will remedy that, and that's kind of like the message of, I don't know, I guess the Christian faith from my perspective. So like, yeah, because I think it is very easy to become very pessimistic. Cause I was pretty pessimistic going into college, to be honest. Like, yeah, and like, well, so I don't know if you know this, but my senior year of high school, like, one of my good friends got in a car accident. Okay. He was like one of the guys I played soccer with for like years, and he didn't survive that car accident. Yeah. He slipped into a coma for like maybe like 3 days. Okay. It was like 2.5 days, but yeah, and it was like in the middle of our soccer season, and like like you're 17 and like
your best
your good friend is like gone, and like there doesn't seem to be a reason for it, right? You know, and like I still think a lot about that sometimes. But I do think that there is something about his life and like also the way I've grown because of that that ultimately I hope is something good that came out of it. Yeah, I think that is something good that came out of it, because
otherwise you can do something. That's good that you can convert that in that way.
But it did inform me a lot about how I came into biomedical engineering also, and like that desire to like at least try to remedy things that are within my power to do so.
Help people.
But I don't think I would have come to that conclusion if it wasn't for my faith, if that makes sense. Interesting. But because I was my initial reaction was like, well, life is short and I'll just live it the way I want. Yeah. Which I think is a lot of people's perspective. Yeah. And then I quickly realized like that's a pretty shitty way to live. Like, if all I'm gonna do is live life the way I want, it's like it's pretty selfish of me. And like, I was like, dang, that's like, that's like
putting yourself in a box.
Yeah, that's kind of putting myself in a box, and also like I don't know if that is like honoring to like the way, not just my friend, but just like the way, like the things I've been given. Like if I'm gonna live selfishly, like I don't think that honors like my parents. Okay. And I don't think that honors like what I know I could be, if that makes sense. Yeah. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, how did we talk about this? I had a point, but then I forgot what I was saying. Shit, damn.
We went a lot of different routes, but
hold on, let me try to rethink it. How did we get to your high school? How did we get to your friend? What were we talking about before that?
Oh, we were talking about
It was
you said it was good that I could like convert like
pessimism to optimism. Oh yeah, optimism. I saw. Okay, this is way back. Rewind. But I know a lot of people who are going like therapy,
Oh,
and
really?
they're not even in like grad school. They're
Yeah.
just people who just can't find happiness, and it's like
Yeah.
and it's like they're our age too, so it's just
It's happening
it's
a lot.
crazy. Yeah, I'm like,
And the thing is that I think people think that like it's happening within people who are of faith or religious also.
oh, okay, I'm not sure.
So,
My friends aren't religious.
Like you might not know that, but I think it's like I think it's normal to have to a certain degree those moments where you're just like I don't know what I'm doing. And like part of the reason I was like very appreciative of like learning more about my faith was like I realized very quickly that there were parts of the Bible that I'd never written that actually talked a lot about that.
Okay.
That talked about like basically depression and like this like feeling of like I don't get why.
And what does it say?
Yeah, and like and those were parts of the Bible that I never read because I just grew up, you know, learning the basic stories. And like, and then I was like, oh wow, like these are questions that had been around in humanity for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think we've kind of forgotten that, but yeah.
I guess it's more talked about today, which is good. So maybe in the past it's been more of like a keep it inside, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Definitely now it's been more of a outspoken topic, and I think it's good that like I think there's still a stigma about mental health, to be honest, because I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know they would go to therapy, but I'm like, I'm glad that they went to therapy because they realized that something's wrong and they need help, and like, dude, that's like the best thing you can do to yourself, kind of like treat yourself and just get better.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the first year of grad school was rough for me.
Oh hell yeah!
I was like,
I
was pretty depressed about a lot of things.
I don't know if I was
like actually depressed. I was like, dude, like, I don't want to do anything with anybody.
Yeah.
And like, I am doing this because I guess I'm supposed to, but like.
Yeah, that's me too. I think for a lot of people, first year is just like a total shit show.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. Like,
yeah.
I remember. Well, my prelim was just like a little tough, so I was like, "Why am I even doing this? Like, is this gonna make me happy? Like, this is a 5-year commitment. I don't know if I want to do it." And like, yeah. I think a lot of people have the same thought, and it's stupid that no one talks about it. Like, no one actually.
That's true. I mean, this is like the first time I've talked about it.
Yeah, I don't know if
basically anyone in our.
I've talked about it to probably like some of my church friends. But it's nice to know that like, but they don't know. The thing is that no one knows what a PhD life is. It's
unless you've been in it.
Unless you're in it, and they're just like, you can do it, and it's like, dude, that shit gets old in like one day, like.
Yeah.
And then.
It's incredibly isolating.
Yeah.
I think, as like I was trying to describe it to people, and like even though I say isolating, I still don't think they fully understand.
No, they don't. They're like, well, you have means. People.
Yeah.
They have people around.
It's isolating in the sense that you're so mentally drained.
Yeah. That
you're isolated.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to interact with people.
Yeah.
So it just makes you more isolated.
Yeah, I totally get that.
It's like this weird cycle where it's just like
a positive feedback loop. Positive loop.
Or I guess negative feedback loop in this case.
Yeah, well, I think it's positive, right? Because you keep on getting.
That's true. Yeah.
Deeper and deeper. Yeah, like my friends at home would just be like, "You can do it," or like, "It's okay," and it's like, it is okay, but it's not okay. Like I need to vent these things out, and because they're not in the same program or they haven't experienced it, they don't know.
It's kind of hard to talk to people about it and explain it because like I don't even know how to articulate it sometimes.
That's true. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
It's surprising, because a lot of first years that I've talked to, I don't want to say their names because it's probably
they
had a lot of problems too. So, and like our department, I don't even know if any other department doesn't really prepare you for it.
No, I don't think any departments
they just feed
really
you to the dogs and they're like, go match and go do what.
Yeah, well, it's just like once you're out of it, you look back.
It's fine.
Yeah,
I think it's like.
But in the moment, it's like, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot for sure. But I wish someone would have asked if it's okay, or like.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better, or things would have been more smooth if someone asked about me, or if I was able to talk to someone about it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be weak. I think that was my thing. I don't want to be weak and be like, I'm having some struggle. Like, I don't want to show that type of face for some reason. I don't know. I was just like, I didn't want to do that.
Everyone does kind of seem to put on like the face that I am capable because they have to put on the face that I am capable.
Yeah.
And like,
but I feel like
that's why. So Tam and Alan, like, we kind of talked about it a little bit in the first year back when we
name check. I was kidding.
No, they're great guys.
Okay.
But they did. We did talk about like, because like from their perspective, like I had it all together. Mm-hmm. I feel like at least that's kind of the vibe I got, but I definitely did not.
Oh.
And like I was like, dude, there's like I'm struggling just as much as you guys, but I was like afraid to say that to them.
Yeah.
Because like, and like looking back, I probably should have said something. I was like, oh, dude, I'm just like in this with you guys,
like, just exhausted.
But I just like didn't know how to like
go about
that, and I was like,
I'm glad. Well, I'm glad that you talked to them about it a little bit. That's good.
Hopefully they're doing okay still. I haven't seen.
They were.
I've never seen those guys.
They were last. Tam was at Austin's and Ryan's house after the HGS party.
Oh, so he came after I left.
He came after, just like he was just chilling.
Yeah, I would have liked to catch up with him, but
I haven't seen him in a while. But I don't know. I don't feel like. I don't know. I don't know if I could talk to them about that. Yeah. I don't know, because we have different dynamics. You do have different dynamics with different people.
Yeah, you also do need kind of like
be in the mood,
and also like, that established relationship. You know? Like because if you don't have that established relationship, it's kind of weird to like talk about.
Not saying like I wouldn't care. I'd just be like, I would probably make joke of it with Tam. I'd be like, yo, you suck. Just because like we're in that space, like we kind of call each other out, but
you have a different relationship.
I'd be like. Damn, you like dumb as hell. Just kidding. First you copy math off me? No. But I think I would be able to read the room if it was actually serious. So, but I think that's a good thing about Gapes too. Or like one thing I want to offer with Gapes, like
Gapes is Graduate Association of Biomedical Engineering Students for people who are done now.
And like it's nice to have these first years come by because they seem friendly and. Mm-hmm. We seem friendly. I think that's also a good thing, and
I do hope we can help them out through some of this stuff.
Anything. We didn't really do it last year because no one came last year, but I think his name's Chris. No, was his name Chris?
Yeah, Chris.
Who suggested the forum?
Oh, is that him?
I forget, but like he suggested that we have like an anonymous help link, and like if they talk about. I would probably use that as a good, I guess, a forum to talk about it, and if they
I would do that,
like it'd be very advantageous for them because
that's a good idea.
We've gone through it, but like it's weird for me to be like, hey, if like during the games, being like, hey, if you have any mental health problems, please let us know.
Yeah.
Because I don't. It's just currently weird.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
We should definitely talk about how to set that up though.
Which one? The link or?
Yeah, the link at least.
Yeah, I'll have to make that up. But it seems like they are more open about things so far through the one meeting.
Yeah. I got caught up in a meeting last week, so I couldn't go. But
it's all good. But I think if I could have something like that when I was first year, I think that would have helped a lot for sure. Because it's crazy.
Nice.
It's crazy. I wonder what like the 5th years are feelings or like 4th year feelings.
I'm gonna ask Hamza.
Yeah.
She
can come in next and be like, hey.
I wanted to interview her, so she was gonna come in, but she was really busy this week, so.
No, she's not. No, just kidding. Yeah, I would love to sit down and be like, Hamza, tell me everything. I'm serious.
We can maybe do a group one of these at some point. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I'll just sit here and be like, take notes.
My room's not that big though. Yeah, I'm just kind of doing this out of my apartment, but
it's really good.
Dang, we've been talking for an hour and a half.
Yo, this is the best podcast ever.
All right, I guess that might be a good place to end then.
Talk about real things, so I'm happy.
I want to respect your time too, because I know
you're dinner.
You're busy. Oh, you haven't eaten yet, dude?
No.
Oh, I got some pie. You want some pumpkin pie?
Okay. I'll go with this.
Well, here, I'll give you some pumpkin pie for later. You can take it home. I have so much pumpkin pie. It's ridiculous.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyways, where can people find you and your work? If you want to do that plug, I don't know if you want to, but.
I don't really use Snapchat or Facebook. I don't know. I don't know. I'm in.
Stay off social media.
Just check.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know.
Botvinick Lab, right?
Botvinick Lab. Email me, Dat Nguyen at uci.edu. My phone number is no. I'm just kidding. We won't go there.
No, I probably don't want to.
Just talk to Chris.
I mean, you get robot calls.
I don't get them too.
You
often.
don't? Oh man, dude, I get them so much.
I get them once, and they it's like a Chinese person, but I'm like, it doesn't happen that often to me.
Okay,
so
that's good.
Pretty stoked.
They've been a little bit less frequent for me, but like maybe at the beginning of the summer, I was like getting them like every other day.
They're getting smart as hell.
Yeah.
They like.
It's crazy.
They use your phone number to call someone else, and then the people who didn't pick up call you, and you're like, oh yeah, I didn't call you. And
and
someone then used your phone number to call them.
They used area codes that are familiar to you too.
Oh yeah.
I realized. Yeah, because I would always get calls from 805, which is my home area code.
Oh.
And then I would always get calls from somewhere in LA because I spent so much time in LA, and I was like.
Maybe someone, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. So, anyways, well, thank you for your time.
No problem. It was fun.
Yeah. All right.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you listened all the way through it, we covered a lot of deep topics. I'm going to be trying to do a lot more of this, and if this is the type of thing that you're interested in, be sure to tune in and like and subscribe and share with all your friends. If you want to learn more about Dad's actual work and also his research, look up the Botvinick lab at UCI. That is Botvinick. So Botvinick, Botvinick, and you can also look up the Beams lab. That might be a little bit easier to remember. BEAMS lab at UCI. Talks with Toe is written and produced by Chris Toe. Music is by Purple Planet. You can visit their website at purple-planet.com.